Webb City, Chasing History, winning number 15, is brought to you by Satterley Plumbing and Heating, Mount Hope Cemetery, and 17th Place Apartments, Boomer's Barbecue, Prater's Pharmacy, My Construction and Roofing, The Fireplace Shop, Mid-Missouri Bank, and Wood Cooper and Peterson.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome into our state championship special on the Webb City Cardinals, Chasing History, winning number 15. I'm Ethan Schmidt, sports director at KODE. I'm joined by KSN sports director Bailey Harbit and the man of the hour, the head coach of the Webb City Cardinals, John Roderick. Coach, congratulations on winning your 12th, program 15th.
Thanks, Ethan. It's really a special year. You know, when you start every season and you just don't know what's going to happen, you know, during the year. This is a very typical year for us. We started somewhere and we just kind of worked a little bit every week and got better and better. And our kids bought in. Our coaches did a fantastic job. And we, as we've said, you know, you get a chance for the ultimate prize, and just real proud of our program.
Yeah, and they had a great season to talk about, Bailey. One of the best. They had one loss in the season, but as Coach mentioned, slow start, and then it kind of got smooth sailing towards the end.
Yeah, we kind of saw the Webb City football that we've all kind of grown accustomed to. I mean, when you think of Webb City, you kind of just think of dominating opponents, and that's pretty much what you guys did most of the season.
Well, at the end, it was very dominating. You know, the last two games we had two shutouts defensively, and we scored a bunch of points. I think somebody told me a stat. The last three games, our offense rushed for 1,200 yards, which is, you know, about 400 average. So. Can't say enough about the kids and our coaches, because they're the ones that really put in all the work, and we get great support always, but a really special finish for us.
As I mentioned, the Cardinals went 8-1 on the regular season. Let's take a look back at the regular season. The story of the 2019 Cardinals really can't begin without the ending of the 2018 season. After winning the Class 4 state championship in 2017, the 2018 season would end a week early in a semifinal loss against Ladue 17-13. The loss only fueled this year's seniors through the offseason and summer workouts.
A couple weeks into summer, we start our weights program, and all the guys, they're kind of excited, getting ready, just being able to go, wake up, and get a lift in, and then just working towards that one goal that we have at the end of the year, knowing that that's going to motivate us and push us through the summer and all the summer practices.
Yeah, I mean, we've had summer weights ever since we were in junior high, so it's kind of all we know, and we have a great strength and conditioning coach in Coach Roy. He knows what he's talking about, and he gets us ready for the season.
After weeks of hard work, the Cardinals went on the road week one against a familiar opponent, Carl Junction.
We know all those guys, so like it's always for bragging rights and who can win and who can play the best, and like I don't know, that game's always fun.
After a shutout of the Bulldogs, the Cardinals would turn their attention to Joplin, but after tragedy struck the Eagles program, the game became about so much more.
We talked as a team, and we wanted to play for Caden as well. As we put a sticker for him on our helmets, and we wanted to represent that, and we just all came out and like showed that it was more than football, and we did have a brotherhood before the game, after the game, and we just prayed for one another.
The loss to Joplin would be the first regular season loss since 2016 for Webb City, but the Cardinals bounced back with wins against Neosho and Branson before getting longtime rivals Carthage at David Hafner Stadium for the first time.
Patrick and Tyler, they were good runners. They're powerful runners, so I mean, we definitely had to have more guys to the football when we had to tackle them. So. Like, I don't know, that was probably one of the funnest games of the regular season, because it was just such a hyped up game. There were so many people there, and it was just a lot of fun.
The Cardinals would pick up the win against the Tigers and continue to win out the remainder of the season, including two shutout victories in the final 2 weeks.
So, Coach, after that loss to Joplin, how important was it for this team to kind of win out the rest of the regular season?
You know, we really didn't think about that. We all we were thinking about is the next week and getting better. That's the one thing. You know, we look back on that game, and we really didn't play very well in that game. But when we look back at it now in retrospect, it probably was what made the difference. Is that, you know, kind of left a bad taste in your mouth. You didn't play very well, and knew we were a lot better team than that. And so it's almost like we spent the rest of the season trying to prove that. And so, you know, sometimes the adversity that you face throughout a season like that, a loss or, you know, a bad game or something like that, it really can motivate you, and it really can, you know, drive you to get better.
in that game against Carthage, you guys played kind of a slower first half, second half, took back over. What did you see from your team in that game?
Well, Carthage is a great team. We knew that. We knew both Joplin and Carthage in our conference. We were 1, 2, and 3 last year, 1, 2, and 3 this year. We knew they were both great teams. And the one thing that we knew going into that game, we were sitting there, and of course Carthage had played Joplin already. We knew that the only way that we were going to, be able to be finished in the next spot would be to win that game. And so sometimes you feel like your back's against the wall a little bit. And I think that's the way we approached that game. I thought our kids really played well in that game against a great team.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And talking about a great performance, we're going to head into the playoffs when we come back from this break. Well, welcome back to Webb City, chasing history, winning number 15. And Coach, before you could win number 15, you had to win number 20 in a row. I'm talking about district titles. What was it like for you guys being in that game and continuing that tradition as well?
Well, we don't sit around and count them. I can guarantee you that. So it's kind of surreal to go, has it really been that many years? And I think back 20 years ago, some of the guys that, those guys are in their late 30s now. And, some unbelievably good football players, a lot of great coaches, and as we kind of try to make sure our kids understand, this team just won one this year, but it is pretty impressive the strength of our program over that many years, and we don't sit around and talk about we got to win number 2. We talk about winning this one, so.
Right, absolutely.
Is there ever any pressure, having won, up until this point now, 20 in a row? Is there ever any pressure to get that next one, or is it just kind of like that, we'll get there when we get there kind of thing?
Well,
how do you feel about that?
We try to take things one day at a time, and that's one thing that it's really hard to do. It's really hard to get 17, 18, 16-year-old kids to do, but. We just focus on today and try to be better today than you were yesterday, and then tomorrow we want you to be better than you were today. So it's easy to not do that, but we every year, that's why we start every year kind of the same way, but yeah, to say is there any pressure, that might be a little understatement, Bailey.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the playoffs now. Our very own Jake Sansel takes a look back at that quest to number 20, but also the quest to 15.
Webb City continued to push onwards into the playoffs, chasing after their 15th state title. After making quick work of McDonald County in the first round and Willard in the second, the Cards reached districts against Bolivar, a chance to keep the tradition alive of consecutive district titles.
We all really didn't know what to expect, and the coaches were talking them up, telling us we needed to cover this or do this differently and stuff, so all the nerves just got to us, and we kind of started off a little slow and then started going. And once we started going, it felt good, and then being able to get that championship and continue the tradition is a very good feeling.
A lot of people say, they grow on trees for us, but they really don't. We got to work hard for it, and every single one of those has been earned, not given. So it's a good feeling getting that 20th one.
The Cards were tested early in the state quarterfinals against Camdenton with the score tied at 21 at the half. Then Webb City came out in the second half, poised and determined, and behind Tragan Parker's 100-yard pick six, the Cards climbed to a 62-34 win.
We were all just like, we don't want this to be our last game, and I think that really just put a fire underneath us and allowed us to do what we do.
Moving into the state semifinals, Webb City stepped into familiar territory, welcoming Ladue to Cardinal Stadium. Last time the Cards faced the Rams was a year ago in the same round for the same goal, to punch a ticket to state. Only this time, it'd be a different outcome.
When they beat us last year and then they ended up going to the championship and just blowing out whoever they played, that was really that was a heartbreaker. And just like not being able to finish out the rest of the season with the rest of the guys on last year's team, that sucked a lot. So we wanted to come back and do it right this year.
Not a single point was allowed to the Rams. Webb City shut out Ladue 35-0, putting the Cards on the cusp of capturing history.
Tradition really speaks loud at Webb City. You know, we have a big tradition in a lot of sports, but especially football, with like winning 20 in a row, 15 state championships. Tradition is really special here.
Well, we just saw him there on the screen. Terrell Kabbalah, how important was he to you guys in that playoff push?
You know, he became, as a couple of our coaches that we played in the playoffs said, he became a man. He was a man to tackle. And, you know, when we started the season, we moved him to running back, knowing that, you know, maybe at the end of the season, you need a player like that, a strong physical runner. We've had some injury problems over the last couple of years at the end of the season with our running backs. And boy, he was a huge difference maker for our team.
Yeah, we know that the Dome was home for you guys for a while. Now it looks like you're making Columbia a little bit like your home. We're going to take a look at that coming up because I know you're pretty excited about that state championship game, right?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the trip up to Columbia and the second time in 3 years that the Webb City Cardinals were crowned kings of Class 4. That works too. Hey, whatever we have like extra through like these next few segments or whatever, just pack it on to the end for me, and then give me a countdown to the final ones.
I sent to Shay back in the booth.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
She's got the times and stuff all.
I got you.
And welcome back to our state portion of Webb City winning state and chasing number 15. And Coach, you were at Edward Jones Dome and the other names that it became a few times in your career. Do you prefer getting that trip to St. Louis or Columbia?
Not so much about the trip, but it is nice to play indoors. I mean, we love playing at the University of Missouri. That's a neat venue, and certainly now with the new end zone facility. But you know, one thing that you don't have to worry about is the weather when you go inside and play. I think it was somewhat to our advantage a lot of times because we have a real deep team. We play a lot of different guys, and certainly not very many two-way guys. And so it seemed like when we played in the Dome, the conditioning piece came in because you're playing in the cold weather for so long, and then you go into a 72-degree indoor dry facility. So it kind of played to our advantage a lot of times.
I'm not going to lie, I was kind of interested to see what your answer was. Me being a Mizzou alum, I think I'm a little bit biased in saying that maybe Columbia is probably a cool place to play. But how do you get your kids excited and fired up and ready to play in such a big venue like that?
We try to focus on just what we need to do. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, the kids they're going to be excited. They're going to be really fired up and nervous and anxious and all those things. And we just try to focus on what's important as far as us playing. What do we got to do offensively? What do we got to do on defense? How about kicking game? And we just try to focus on those things. I know, trying to keep them loose during that time and have a we know this is our last game. We know this is it. And so we try to have a good, fun week and stay loose, but focus on what we need to focus on. I do like playing in Columbia. I also, Bailey, want to mention I love that red shirt you're wearing tonight.
Hey, I wore it for you, Coach Rod.
Yes, ma'am.
It always happens to me. I can never wear red. Here we go, guys, but we're going to take that trip up to Columbia. Bailey Harbert takes us to the state championship game. Let's take a look at that.
The
Webb City Cardinals came into this year's Class 4 state title game heavy favorites, with a better record and more championship experience than their opponent Platte County.
Angle far side, touchdown Webb City, touchdown Cade Hicks.
The Cardinals certainly played like the favorites, defeating Platte County on their way to a 15th state title, the second title for this year's senior class.
Going up, going through Pee Wee and stuff, that's your ultimate goal, I guess. So knowing that your school has that history and that expectation of winning a state championship or winning games is it's stressful at times, but it's also an honor to have because it's something to look forward to live up to, and to be able to continue that is special.
The Platte County offense came into that final game averaging around 26 points per contest, but the Webb City defense didn't allow the Pirates to reach the end zone the entire game. This marks the second straight state title victory where the Webb City defense did not allow their opponent to score.
They had a great quarterback, great receivers, running backs that could just crease and cut the ball anywhere. But Coach talked about it. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't listen to what anyone's saying about this team. He just wants to go out there, play the best game we possibly can. It's the last game for the seniors.
In the beginning of the game, they were driving down the field on us, but we just wouldn't let them in, and they ended up missing 2 field goals. And so, we just got the ball back to the offense, like I was talking about earlier. That's the goal of all defenses, is to get the ball back to the offense, and we did that. And they were complimenting us back and just putting the ball in the end zone a lot.
Webb City's offense was firing on all cylinders, never punting the ball away, and finishing the game with 437 yards of total offense. 412 of those yards were rushing yards. The Cardinals scored 48 unanswered points, with 6 of the team's 7 touchdowns scored on the ground.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I think that just goes to show that was probably our best game all year, just building up to that game. And our O-line, they're just our O-line's so good this year.
Oh, whenever my teammates get involved, that's my favorite feeling. I feel like when I can celebrate with them, and then me getting in the end zone, I know they're always there for me. And the O-line was just working, and we just had to run.
With this season's goal accomplished and another title in hand, this year's senior class finished their high school careers on a high note, honoring the legacy of the very first team to ever do it in the process.
I mean, it just shows the domination that we've had, and Coach Rod and Coach Kill and all the other coaches have instilled in this program. And I mean, it's a great feeling having won since our first time. We've won half state championship since then. That's insane to me.
Coach, we're going to get a chance to see some of those 89 guys here in a second. I know that you know those guys very well. You played, they were about freshmen when you were playing at Webb City.
They were youngsters, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to hear from at least 2 of them that I got to hang out with. So when we come back, we're going to take a look back at the 1989 team and a little bit at the 2019 with a special feature piece remembering 1989. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our final segment of Winning the Championship, Chasing History, winning number 15. And head coach John Roderick, you were a member of this Cardinals team back in the middle 80s, and so you knew some of those 89 guys very well, and now you've coached some of their sons. You've been able to be a part of a lot of these guys' lives before they even put on the Cardinal uniform.
Those guys, I was so proud when in 1989. I remember that was my last year of college playing football. And I remember going to the state championship game in Springfield, and I couldn't have been more proud and excited about about that the program winning a state championship. Of course, Coach Kill was a friend and had coached, recruited me and coached me in college, and then we eventually coached together. But it was so exciting for the town and the community, and Coach Thompson and I were good friends from college, and so yeah, it was an awesome experience, that first one.
Just how important is how important are these 89 guys to this team? Do they come and talk to your players? What's sort of that like? Having those guys hang around the football program.
We had a 30-year reunion this year for that group, and we had a whole bunch of them in the locker room, and I just kind of opened the floor and let them talk, and it was really neat to listen to those guys. When we talk about things as coaches to our kids, to our players, sometimes I don't think they listen or don't think they're understanding, and then we talk about tradition, we talk about how it's going to be 30 years from now for you, and then I think that gave them a good perspective of that and what it really is like to have the opportunity to play with these guys in high school, and then you go your separate ways, but you still have that bond, you still have that togetherness, which is what athletics is all about.
And as I mentioned, I actually got to meet some of these guys over the summer, a very good group of guys, very fun to be around. Let's take a look back now at 1989 and just the fact of these guys winning a state championship, number 15, on the 30th anniversary. On the 30th anniversary of the Cardinals' first state championship from 1989, the 2019 Cardinals were winning the program's 15th championship in Columbia. And with many of the former Cardinals watching on, the current Cardinals knew they were continuing a great legacy.
I think that's just awesome to, first of all, honor those guys that came before us and put the work in just like we did, and kind of built this tradition we have.
The motto of the Cardinals entering this season was chasing history, but really what the team was doing was cementing their legacy alongside the great teams of the past.
We felt very honored as the 89 state championship team, and I know it was also previous teams that when they stated they were chasing history, and us being the first ones and several in between, it meant a lot to us. They weren't even born yet or even thought about. And they were chasing it, and they caught it. And now they're part of the history with us.
This year's team will now have the same great honor of being looked up to for years to come.
Knowing that your school has that history and that expectation of winning a state championship or winning games is it's stressful at times, but it's also an honor to have because it's something to look forward to live up to, and to be able to continue that is special.
And with great advice from those that came before them.
In football, you get knocked down. You're not going to win every battle. Same thing in life. You're going to get knocked down, but they've learned how to get back up. So all they need to do is apply that in their life. Get back up and go to the next thing. I'd say don't let this one single moment be the defining factor that defines you in your life.
So, Coach, what are kind of just your thoughts seeing that video of that very first team, that 89 team holding up the trophy, and then seeing your guys this year holding up number 15? What's kind of your thought?
It kind of gives me some chills right there, seeing that footage, and although it's not as bright and colorful as what it is today, that's really neat. Seeing Kevin Crane, Kevin, what a great friend, and Doug Collard, those guys that stay in touch with us, stay in touch with our program. And they still live in our community, and so proud of those guys and all those kids, because you kind of think, I wonder if this could have been possible had they not done that at that point in time, in their lives. So,
Coach, you won program number 15 state championship. You have your 12th state championship. I've asked you before, do you ever get tired of not having Thanksgiving with the family? I asked you that 2 years ago, and my question this year for you is, for you, I know the players, obviously, sometimes it's their first time ever playing there. For you, how do you get up for that moment? Besides Kickstart My Heart, I know that for certain, but how do you get fired up for a game like that?
It's just something you love to do. I mean, still get nervous, still get anxious, still get all that anxiety that you always have. But it's just wanting to see those kids play as well as they can, as well as they're capable of playing. I mean, that's why we do it, just to let them see that kind of success. I remember, I don't know when it was, a long time ago, I started thinking, if every kid that came through our school and our program had a chance to play or had a chance to be in that state championship game, what a great experience that would be for them. it won't change their life, you know, but hopefully the program and going through the things that we ask them to do, and you know, the work ethic and the discipline and you know, responsibility, accountability, all those things will help them, you know, later on down the road. But you know, just to have that experience is something very special.
And what do you think you can attribute all the success to?
Just, you know, if there were hard work, I mean, it'd be the first thing, you know, and you know, having the one thing that I haven't really mentioned a lot, but you know, parents that support us. You know, we have Thursday night meal, and we have all the moms there, and what a great experience that is. I mean, you know, when we have kids that leave our program, I miss the parents as much, you know, sometimes I do the kids, because you know, you develop a relationship with those people over the years, and you know, we miss them. You know, I truly do miss those people.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. Maybe we'll do one again next year for number 16. We'll see, Coach.
Who knows?
All right, absolutely. For Bailey Harbit, I'm Ethan Schmidt and head coach John Roderick. Thank you guys so much for watching this special state championship show.
Webb City, chasing history, winning number 15, was brought to you by Satterley Plumbing and Heating, Mount Hope Cemetery, and 17th Place Apartments, Boomer's Barbecue, Prater's Pharmacy, My Construction and Roofing, The Fireplace Shop, Mid-Missouri Bank, and Wood Cooper and Peterson.